Hi everyone, and Kate here for a summer reading highlights video. I got out of the routine of filming reading wrap-ups over the summer, and I did read more than 12 books, but these are the books that stuck out to me as just very memorable and pleasant reading experiences, or that had just wonderful literary merit, and I want to tell you about them. And the first one I will grab my physical copy of is Green Dolphin Street by Elizabeth Goudge. This was on my summer TBR, and I'm really happy that I did end up getting to this. I did not get to nearly all my summer TBR books, but this was one that I did. And it was one that it was a little bit tough going at times. It's so like very near the beginning, there's something that's a huge spoiler. So I feel like there's not much that I can say about this, but just know it's set in the 19th century and does involve kind of colonialism in New Zealand. And what I really appreciated about Elizabeth Goudge's book is that she really had nuance in her portrayal of the Maori people, and then also the Brits that had come to settle in New Zealand. And nothing was black and white, and she did show kind of the real downfalls when other countries just decide they're going to just take over. And it was just a really, really wonderful, poignant book. But I can't tell you much about the plot. Just know this felt very worth the work. It will be really sitting with me. You do spend a decent amount of time in this book with a character that's not very easy to love, and I think that's a very brave choice to make as an author. And I'm just really, really pleased that I have finally read this. So I'm very excited to continue on through Elizabeth Goudge's work. So definitely a less lighthearted one, but very worth your time. And then I read The Bell Family by Noel Streatfeild. This is so fun. If you enjoy the Penderwicks or the Vanderbeekers or even the Betsy Tacy series, this is just like a very big family having very everyday mishaps happen, and it's written in a very dynamic way where things keep happening and the plot keeps moving forward, but it's also very quaint and charming, and it just makes me want to read more by Noel Streatfeild. And yeah, I just thought it was a very charming book and one I cannot wait to go back to at some point. The next one I want to talk about is A Town Like Alice by Nevil Shute. This was a reread I did with several other booktubers, and it was just so fun to get to hear their perspective, because the story, it takes a while to unfold, and there are some very harrowing things that happen in this. So you don't go into it thinking it's going to be lighthearted. And another aspect that I think is really unique about this book is that it is technically, a World War II book, but it's not in the places of the world during World War II that you are used to. And I think that is what makes it so unique. And Jean is one of my favorite characters in literature, and I'm so happy that I reread this. I really loved it on a reread as well. The writing is very straightforward and kind of plain, but he knows how to tell a good story and how to plot things out. So I highly recommend A Town Like Alice. Then another highlight was Four Funerals and Maybe a Wedding. This is the next Her Royal Spyness book that I read with Kate from the novel Nomad. I just love this series. I love it so much. I'm very, very fond of it. And this was fun because it had a wedding, and it's a wedding that readers of this series have been waiting for a long time. It feels very much like a long time coming. And the plotting of this one was kind of weird and unusual in that Georgie travels up to this house that they are getting to live in. And some of the plot is happening there, but then she travels back to town where some of the plot is happening. And she gets to the house and things are not all that they seem at this house. So it was fun kind of, coming to the mysterious house, and just a very satisfactory Her Royal Spyness installment. And then I did a reread of Son of the Deep by K.B. Hoyle, and it was so fun to take this book with me to the beach and reread it there. I am a historically terrible reader on vacation. And basically ever since I had kids, that's when my reading on vacation, for some reason, like I am able to read a ton, even having kids, when I'm at home. But when I'm on vacation, I guess it's like the times that I'm not, taking care of them, occupied with them, then I'm just kind of like sitting and relaxing. And sometimes reading feels relaxing, and then other times it feels like this extra task you have to be doing. But I'm so thankful that I just went with a reread that is a Little Mermaid retelling, and I think I loved this even more the second time around. I was a little bit nervous. I had talked this book up so much. It's still definitely my favorite book of the year. It's just such a well done fairy tale retelling that can stand on its own 2 feet. It doesn't overly rely on the fairy tale because it's got the characterization and it has deeper themes and meanings. And also, I hadn't properly noticed some of the side characters, Hestia and George, and they just add kind of like the cherry on top to this perfect book. And also the deeper themes and meanings really came through more to me this time, and that is a sign of a very special book that I can't wait to reread many times. And then next was I read Jaws while at the beach. And so I try to do a weekly video for patrons, although it ends up probably being more like 2 times a month. Anyhow, in that video, I was saying, some people in my Insta stories were like, what are you doing reading Jaws while at the beach? And you know how we all have certain things that we're afraid of. We have certain things, and mine are bridges. I'm always very scared on bridges. And also kind of like true crime things. Like I watched way too much Unsolved Mysteries as a child. But for some reason, sharks, I've never been worried that was how I was going to go. Like if it was me versus a shark, the shark would 100% win. But I just never have thought I would end up being tracked down by a shark. It's not one of my things. So I was just able to have fun with this. It felt very much like a summer vacation novel. And I will say it is very 1970s in its sentiments. So if that is going to ruin the experience for you, don't spend any time on it. There are some things that really have not aged well at all. But I think because it was so, I don't know, summery and like adventurous feeling, that I enjoyed it. Now, all that being said, I still really like the movie more. I'm going to give you a little spoiler for the book. So, turn away while the Jaws picture is on the screen. So if you're still here and ready for the spoiler is that one of the main characters, the scientist who is played by Richard Dreyfuss in the movie, and I adore him in the movie Jaws, is having an affair with the police chief's wife in the book. And that is not there whatsoever. There's not even a glimpse, a hint of it in the movie. And it just seemed like just extra smut to add in, and it didn't even serve the plot. It's like the beginning part of the first third of Jaws is the shark beginning to do these attacks. And then the second third is all about the affair with nothing moving forward with getting the shark. And then the final third was they get the shark. And it just felt so random and like he wanted an excuse to write explicit scenes. So that did definitely bring down my enjoyment of the book. And now I'm just really happy that the movie is so good and doesn't include that, because not only would I not like it, but it's also completely unnecessary and unessential to the plot. So yeah, this was an instance where I liked the movie better, but I still really enjoyed the book because I was at the beach. And that's the only time that I truly love summer, is when I'm at the beach. And then I did a reread of Pride and Prejudice, and I can't believe like what a giddy girl I am when I reread Pride and Prejudice. I think because it's just such a wonderful plot, and I am always in awe of how fastly moving it feels whenever I reread it, and how much she is able to fit into one book. And I just feel that every chapter feels extremely intentional. The dialogue is all so clever, and also, it's just a really moving love story. Even though Mr. Darcy is not one of my kind of top romantic leads, I still am very happy at the end that there is a very happy ending. And it's just something about it. There is this X factor, and there's something so marvelous about it. And so I feel that I am in the presence of genius That sounds so dramatic, but that is really how I feel when I read this book. There was a spark and something marvelous happened. And it's just one, I want to reread it a ton, but I also don't want to wear it out. So my plan is maybe every other year to reread Pride and Prejudice. It's so very good. And then a very fun, whimsical manga series I have happened upon is Hat Atelier, which is about our main character, who I can't, is it Kiko? I will put her name down here. Coco, that's what it is. It came to me as I was talking about this. So Coco is not raised as a witch, and her parents don't know about magic. And then through a sort of weird set of circumstances, Coco ends up finding out about magic and then goes to this magic academy. So it has those kind of Harry Potter vibes, and it is so charming. The art is absolutely beautiful and stunning. And so right now I am in volume 3, and I have a couple other checked out from the library and another hold coming in. So I'm really, continuing to make my way through this series. I can't recommend it enough. It's got those magic vibes, but it doesn't feel at all it feels very like pretend magic, and I love that about it. And then the next one is Village School and Village Diary, both by Miss Reed. And you know what? I have a copy of Village Diary here, and I will show you just one of the illustrations because they're so incredibly charming. So these were the first two in the Fair Acre series by Miss Reed. And I am hosting a read-along of the series with Chelsea from Voyage of a Time Wanderer, Angie from Literary Labors, and Rainy from Rainy Day Reads. These are the ladies that I hosted the read-along of Mitford with. And I am very ecstatic to say that we are loving this series. Village Storm is the September read-along, and I really can't wait to continue through the series. And it has... there is just something that I love about her writing, that it is incredibly mundane, the events that she's describing, but she does it with such skill that you're very drawn in. And the next one is going to be, Village Storm is going to be a bit more plot oriented. And all the ladies, we were saying, we're happy about that because the books can really blur together if there's not much that happens in all of them. So hopefully they'll feel kind of distinct from one another. And then A Grave Matter by Annalee Huber. This is the third in the Lady Darby mystery series, which is set right now. We're like in between Regency and Victorian era in Scotland. And this is definitely kind of a darker historical mystery series. So go in knowing that. So far, I was a little bit worried. The first one had a pretty dark kind of crime involved in it. And so I messaged Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures and said, does it get darker than this? And she's like, no, if that's your threshold, you'll be okay. And so far, that has definitely rung true. So I was really glad that I asked her. And I love the very just, what do I want to say, like broody kind of romance that is happening. And you want this so badly for them. And I just love how authentic it feels to the time period. Not that I have lived in the 1820s in Scotland, but it just feels very much not present day and like you are transported to the past. And it's such a special series. Really can't wait to carry on with it. And I think it's, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it's very appropriate, like autumnal, winter mystery reading. And then Wives and Daughters, I did another reread. Now it was, I got a little scared for a bit because I started my reread in May. That's when I say that I like to read it. It just feels very May-ish to me. And about halfway through, I just got so burnt out. And I think it's that I had so many books in the summertime that I wanted to get to. And so I thought, oh no, like, do I not love Wives and Daughters? And I had my whole existential reader crisis. And I thought, you know what? Don't beat yourself up, Kate. Just set it down. It's okay. Set it down, and you can finish it later if you want to. There are no rules. You don't have to finish it later, and you can still say that you love it. But what happened is big summer reading slump hit in August, and I picked back up with it, and it was just so great because sometimes I would have, nothing to do, but I didn't feel like picking up any new books. And so just to put Nadia May's audiobook on and to listen to it and sit with it. It was like just sitting with old friends, and it's so familiar. And so it just let my brain rest while being diverted by the story. And of course, I followed it up with rewatching the miniseries, and I felt like crying when I was done with both. And I love this book. The character that I most sympathized with and identified with this time was actually Osborne Hamley, because of his chronic illness and how he wants to do so much more, but he is physically limited. And it is not for a lack of trying or desire that he's unable to do the things. It is because his body is incapable of it. And I just felt that so much. On some days, I have so many more tasks that I want to be doing, but my body tells me, no, you need to rest right now. It can be very frustrating. So I just really love when you have a favorite book, picking a certain character to focus on as you read it. And I know I love that Katie from Books and Things has done that with different Pride and Prejudice characters. And so to follow that character throughout the book can be a really fun project to do with any book that you love. And then lastly, a real high to end the month of August with was Family Grandstand by Carol Ryrie Brink. This was read with my Kindred Spirits book club. This has become a highlight of the month for me. I love this group of people. They are so sincere and they truly are kindred spirits. And so if you would like to attend, it is free. I host it once a month typically. I won't be hosting one in October. And in September, we are reading Joanna Barker's Miss Adeline's Match. And we have the author attending the Zoom meeting. So if you would like to attend, send me an email and we would love to have you there. So it's just been such a lovely group of people, and I just feel so spoiled that I get to pick kind of the exact books that I would hope people would buddy read with me, and then people come and discuss it in a Zoom discussion. So it's been so fun. And Family Grandstand is written by the same author who wrote Caddy Woodlawn, and is about a family. It's very much like a light academia novel. It's this family living in a Midwestern town in Indiana. Their father is a professor at the local college, and it takes place in the autumn. Halloween is involved, football, but not too much football if you don't want to hear, tons of that writing, but I loved the kind of team spirit feel of it. And it just is splendid. So again, this is another one like the Vanderbeekers, the Penderwicks, Betsy Tacy. Highly, highly recommend. And we are going to be reading the sequel, Family Sabbatical, in the month of November. Very excited to continue on with that series. I couldn't believe how much I loved it, especially because I read it in August when I was really not feeling like reading much. And I thought, oh no, I'm hosting this read along. How am I going to be a host if I'm not wanting to read anything? And I just loved it so much. So I think that's another reason why I feel so positive about it, is that it was just this kind of beacon of true diversion and enjoyment right at the end of the month. Those are my summer reading highlights. The summer flew by and was slow all at once. That sounds very cliche. It's how it felt. Let me know kind of your summer reading highlights. And I am in the midst of a flurry of Victober filming and preparation. It gets me so excited. Thank you as always for watching, and I won't have that many videos up in September because I'm just preparing so much for Victober. In case I do get some non-Victober inspiration, I'll put something up, but I'm guessing you're not going to see me much in September. So have a lovely day as always, and I will be back with another video soon-ish. Bye.